I, M38, left my wife, Kelly F38, today. 5 years together. 4 married. I have battled her lack of boundaries about her family for the past 2 years. I understand that they are very close-knit, but she never paid attention to how their dynamics affected our relationship. I experienced every just no family situation. My food was eaten, showing up uninvited, meddling, you name it. 9 months ago, mother-in-law and father-in-law began divorce proceedings. He cheated, fell madly in love with a side chick with whom he's lived for the past 15 years, and he decided that he wants to get remarried. He kicked everyone out of the house. It was an emergency, so I agreed to help out. I so ducking regret it. I had to take 4 people in, but they couldn't think to avoid constantly pissing me off. I got sick of finding them using our private bathroom. They had complete access to the other full bathroom by the hallway. Sister-in-law started taking naps on our bed, which is creepy because a bed is too personal. I came home late and we had to wake her up and still waited for her to snap out of her groggy state so that she could walk out. It lasted for 3 months, but the problems persisted. No matter how many times I told my wife and even told them, they still showed up at random hours. Even if I didn't run into them, I know she was allowing them to come over. I hated their presence. They would eat my snacks and get on my expensive recliner chair, which again, they didn't contribute a penny for. I had a mini orchard that they picked empty. Things got so tense that I blew at her in front of them. They left, we had a fight, and I ended up sleeping in a hotel. I warned her many times about being fed up and needing her to support me. She acted like I was demanding that she abandoned her family. Today, I came home to find her brother's car blocking the entrance. Not on the side and not even on the driveway, just right in the middle where my only option would be to get on the lawn. I go inside and he's laying with his shoes on the couch. He gave me this fresh smile like he's untouchable. I went to our bedroom and packed as much of my belongings as possible and ignored her pleas to talk. There's nothing else to talk about. I already called a few lawyers but haven't received any replies yet. She cried, but at this point, I have no empathy. I don't even know if I overreacted or if I needed to discuss this in private. I feel defeated and angry, and I also hate her family with my soul. They knew they were hurting our relationship and they didn't care. She knew that I'm a private person who hates being invaded. I helped them because I love her and I didn't have the balls to let them go to sleep in their car. We don't have kids, but there are so many things that will be left undone. I loved her so much, but I just can't do this. She called me immediately after I left and I told her that my decision is final. She sounded shaken, but I told her that right now, I despise her and will never be able to sleep next to her again. I have a migraine right now. I'm just coming here because I just want to ask if leaving the way that I did was a whole move, and maybe I should have announced my intention of ending our marriage after her brother was gone. Comment 1. You spent years communicating your needs and giving her the benefit of the doubt. There's only so many chances you can give before it becomes pure disrespect. Absolutely NTA, hope you can find some peace now. Comment 2. As an introvert, I am wholly on your side. It takes energy just to have people in my space for a few hours, and I would go balmy if it went on for weeks. The boundary stomping, invasion of my privacy, stealing and entitlement would have me in a red rage. Your wife has walked all over your discomfort, ignored your needs and placed you at the bottom of her priorities. I would leave too. Comment 3. NTA. You repeatedly stated your boundaries and she repeatedly allowed her family to trample all over them. I do feel a bit sorry for her. It sounds like her family has no respect for anyone. She had 33 years of this before she met you. She is probably struggling to change those habits. But you should not have left your house. You just basically gave her brother your house. You need to go back there and tell her that it's your home, and if she chooses her family she should leave. Why give them what they have wanted all along? Story 2. I have 3 kids with my ex-husband, Elliot, 28, Emily, 21, and Joseph, 19. Emily and Joseph still live at home while they attend the local state university. 3 years. Elliot married his high school girlfriend, Madeline, 27, and they have 3 beautiful little girls. Sophie, 12, is Madeline's half-sister that Madeline and Elliot adopted 3 years ago. They also have 18-month-old twin girls, Charlotte and Penelope, and they're pregnant with their first son. Last year Madeline and Elliot moved from their apartment down the street from me to a house about 3 hours away for Elliot's job. I try to visit them at least 2 weekends a month and I just love where they live. It's this adorable little quiet beach town. I've been thinking about retiring there since Elliot and Madeline moved down there, but I made the decision after I found out Madeline and Elliot are having another baby. I put in an offer on a little cottage on the beach, a 10-minute walk to Elliot and Madeline's house. My offer was accepted, so I decided to sit Emily and Joseph down to tell them my plan. I told them that I would be selling the house this summer and moving closer to Elliot and Madeline for an early retirement. I didn't want them to struggle to find a place to live, so I told them I will rent an apartment for them to share for 3 years or until Joseph graduates, whichever comes first. Neither will pay rent or any other expenses besides part of their groceries as long as they're still in school. I thought Joseph and Emily would be okay with this, but they were furious. Joseph is saying that I'm choosing Elliot and my grandkids over them, and Emily is claiming that I'm misusing their child support. Their dad agreed to pay until they graduate from college. Because I won't get a good apartment, I'm getting them a simple 2-bed 1-bath apartment in good condition close to their school, instead of a luxury 2-bed 2-bath with access to pools, a gym, and other nice amenities. I told her she's welcome to pay her tuition and living expenses on the $850 per month I get from her dad, and now she and Joseph won't speak to me. Elliot is suggesting that I could have given them more notice and talked to them about this before I bought the house, but I thought 3 months was plenty of time. Comment 1. Personally, I think a lot of conversations with your loved ones before making big decisions that will change their lives is appropriate. I wouldn't have done it this way. They're adults, you aren't required to care for them, and that's not the point. They would have had more time to adjust if they were in on the conversation. I can't imagine buying a house in a different town and planning a move without talking to my kids about it. YTA. Comment 2. NTA, not sure why you're getting so much grief. Most kids don't live at home during college, and you're not even making them pay for housing. Maybe you could have mentioned that you were thinking of moving earlier, but you're not required to. Also, why on earth would a 19-year and 21-year-old prefer living with mom to living in a free apartment without mom? Enjoy the beach cottage and your grandkid. Comment 3. Going against the tide here and saying NTA. Your youngest 2 are in college, so they are technically adults. You made more than reasonable accommodations for them by offering to rent them an apartment for the balance of their college years. They are pissed because you are putting yourself first rather continuing to put them first. I moved several states away when my son was 20. He understood and even helped me move. If your kids don't like the apartment, let them choose one and pay the balance. Your kids sound very spoiled. Story 3, I, 17F, moved states with my mom, her husband and his kids when I was 13. My mom's husband got a job offer in his hometown and he wanted to be near his family and mom okayed it. This took us away from my family and the people I lived with for 11 years. Because before my mom moved in with her husband we lived with her parents, as in my grandparents. I never met my dad, so for me my core family was my mom and my grandparents. I had 2 aunts and an uncle and their spouses and kids all living within 15 minutes from our old house too. The move was great for my mom's stepkids. They got to be close by their families, their dad's side and their mom's. Their mom died, so it was emphasized that it would be extra special and important for them. They always wanted to go back home. Because this was always home to them. But to me? My home is where we moved from. When we were first told about the move, I said straight up that I didn't want to leave my family behind, and my mom told me I wasn't because we were all moving together. I didn't see the step-family as my family though. To me my family are still mom and everyone back home, but especially my grandparents. Her husband has tried to fill the role of my dad, but my grandpa and my uncle already filled in the fatherly figure role for me. And I'll admit the fact he took me away from my family to be near his also makes me less open to being close to him. I had no choice in the move, so I went with them, but I always saw this as temporary for me, and I would move back home as soon as I could. My mom has tried to make this my home. She put me in extracurricular activities, she let me do stuff I was never allowed to do back home, and she tried to use things to make me love it here. But I hated every second of being here, and now that I'm 7 months away from being able to move home again, it's all I can really think about. I've spoken to my grandparents about moving back in with them when I can, and they're on board and they're excited to have me back. We were talking about some of the logistics of it when Mom came home and heard some of my side of that discussion. She got upset and asked me why I'm already planning on leaving, and I told her that I always wanted to. She told me she wanted to strangle me, not in the literal sense of killing me, but because we had so much going for us where we are now and I can't see it. She told me I could have used the move to get everything I wanted and it would have worked. Then she said I'm not even trying to make this place home, and I agreed with her. I told her I never wanted the move, and for me home isn't about the stuff but the people, and I left most of my family behind when we moved. And I just want to go home now, and I've always just wanted to go home. She acted like I slapped her. She told me she knew I considered her my family, but to say I left most when I had her husband and his kids here meant I didn't even count them, and she said it's been 6 years since we all started living together, so that was a hard thing to hear. She told me she couldn't understand me and that most teenagers wouldn't give a crap about the people they left and they'd kill for the stuff they gave me since we moved. She also said her husband would be really gut-punched to realize while he's been bonding with me and seeing me as his daughter, I only ever saw him as the guy who made me move. She said I was totally selfish and didn't even love her enough to accept this because she loves me and she loves him and his kids. Comment 1. NTA So your mum is not a teenager who is obsessed with stuff, which means she has been bribing you since you left to be happy. But your step-family get to be happy with their family? I get either way, it upsets someone's kids, but mum is in the wrong. Did she even allow visits back home, or was it like nope, you live here now? I feel like she knew this was how you felt but hoped the stuff and the broken rules would fix it, but is pissed it didn't, and now people are going to question her happy family now grown up and leaving. Not her fault. OP comment. I never got to go back, but I did get visits from my grandparents when Mom realized the family her husband and his kids have here weren't going to embrace me like a grandkid. Before that she was trying to make my focus on making that home and kept me from my grandparents for that reason. Story 4, I had to have a lumpectomy on one of my breasts due to cancer. My husband took me to the hospital for the procedure and left to go run errands. I had never had this procedure done before, and finding out I had cancer was a scary thing. He said he'd be right back while they were prepping me for surgery. Once I was ready and waiting to go into surgery, the nurse asked if I wanted my husband to come sit with me until it was time to go in. I said yes, but she came back and said she couldn't find him. I sat in the room by myself for an hour, and he still didn't show. I went into surgery without any reassurance from him, no kiss on the cheek with an I love you or everything will be okay. It was such a lonely feeling, and I was wishing that I had brought my mom with me instead. The procedure was done within an hour, and I was in the recovery room. Once my anesthesia wore off, I was awake and realized my husband still had not returned. At this point, I was really getting worried. The nurse said he wasn't answering his phone, and she seemed irritated that he wasn't there. The nurse went on to give me post-surgery directions, which I was only half listening to because I was still kind of out of it, plus with my increasing worry of where the hell my husband was. The nurse comes in after a half hour and says, "Sweetie, we are still trying to call him, but if he doesn't get here soon, you won't be able to leave. There is a big storm coming in, and this wing will be on lockdown until the storm passes." I could feel the tears welling up in my eyes. I just wanted to go home. 10 more minutes go by and he waltzes in with a dozen roses, like he was the most thoughtful husband ever. When I asked where he was, he told me he was at the bar because he was hungry for one of their delicious burgers. I told him that I had been waiting alone throughout the whole ordeal, and that he should have been there for me. He said he was sorry and held out the roses. I told him he could take the roses and shove it, and that I was never having him come with me during a medical procedure ever again. Comment 1, or he was at his mistress's house and the roses are a guilt present. Either way, your husband is a douche and you are 100% right to be pissed. I can't even imagine what you were and still are going through. Finding out you have cancer is one thing, but going to the surgery alone is another. I am so sorry that this happened to you and I wish you all the best. But you need to think about your marriage and how you are going to move forward. I would not be able to forgive my husband if he did something like that. But maybe you could, and maybe therapy may help. You need to be very open and honest with your husband about what he has done and how it made you feel. I know you don't want to be on your own, but maybe few days with family or friends away from him may help you think about your priorities, because it doesn't seem to me that you are your husband's priority. All the best and heal quick. NTA. Comment 2. That's a long time being gone just for a burger that he could have gotten to go. The fact that his phone didn't show missed calls, vibrate, or light up with messages that whole time makes me agree with you.